Okay, hi everybody, and welcome back from spring break. I hope you had a wonderful spring break. Today in the Google Classroom, we've got a couple of resources for you that we want you to spend the rest of the day really preparing for the relaunch of distance learning this week. I know you're going to do a fantastic job. I hope everyone had a wonderful time to enjoy some of the amazing weather we had in your own, the safety of your own home. And I hope that your family is well and that you are well as well. Let's dive in. I couldn't start without a little bit of a celebration. I got to give a little celebration about a celebration. That is, here's a picture of Emily Batten's living room. Now, hopefully each of our team got a little box over spring break, and inside that box, a little picture of your admin team giving you a little love and a shout out. And while it was from the whole team, I'd like to celebrate Emily Batten because she assembled these pieces for you all. And I hope that as you opened it, you had a moment of like, well, yeah, we're on quarantine, but it's still Westlake, and that was pretty cool. So happy spring break to each of you who received a package, and a big shout out to the whole admin team and to you, Emily Batten, for really doing that in your living room. Good on you. All right, team, let's dive in and take a look at what our agenda looks like for today. I just want to talk through the calendar, make sure we're all clear about the calendar from now until May 27th. I want to talk about our distance learning pedagogy. I'll go through those 4 columns where we kind of curated where we think all of our best practices lie. And then I want to talk about parent communications. I've communicated to parents through a video and a little one-sheeter. I just want you to be able to hear what I said to them so you know where we're going next. Shouldn't be a large shift in pedagogy. Should be pretty much where we think we are, I hope. Let's dive in. Start with calendar. This is a PDF of the calendar that was in the board packet and the board approved. The calendar says that, okay, distance learning goes from April 21st to May 27th. And May 27th is now the last day of school. You'll see on this calendar that the last day of school is indicated there on May 27th. The 2 following days are teacher work days. We're going to want to probably do some pinks and blues and the things that we have to do to wrap up the school year. But you'll notice the 1st through the 4th are blank. Those are going to be administrative leave days for all of our staff to take 4 paid days to kind of wind it down and make sure that you're healthy and ready to go into your summer break. Very proud of the board for the work they did on that, by the way. I want to talk about end-of-year events. Emily and the team are putting together a calendar that talks about, okay, when could we start checking out of our classrooms? When can we start wrapping up these pieces? What are the things that we can get done on the way to May 27th to facilitate the end of the year more smoothly and respect social distancing? So that calendar, I think, is being placed in today's Google Classroom for you to review. But then also we have kind of the end of the year events, right? We have all these spirit days, coffee talks for parents, family connect nights, open house. How are we going to do open house? How are we going to do field day? I think that was going to be pretty fun. I'm excited to see how that comes out. And then how do we do promotion? And all of this is getting built, but at least we can now start a backwards map from dates on the calendar that you'll now have access to. So we'll make sure you have that calendar built into today's Google Classroom. Okay. So there's the calendar. Let's get started on distance learning and kind of our approach to distance learning pedagogy. We have this slide right here, the distance learning manual, and we'll kind of unpack it 1 column at a time because as I read through parent surveys and staff surveys over spring break, really started to unpack like, okay, is there really a big pedagogical change between the first version of distance learning and the second? There's really not. However, as I read through, I think maybe there's some confusion. I want to make sure I clear up because this should not be a massive shift from what we're doing. So I want to unpack that. Number 1, in column 1, supporting SEL. You are already doing such an amazing job at this. In this column, we're talking about every time your face shows up on the screen, our parent survey results say that, when we see our teacher on video, it makes my student feel connected. And that's what we're talking about in this SEL column, is connecting our community, right? So just your academic work that you're doing, which really belongs in the connect and collaborate column over here, your academic work is also part of SEL because students are seeing your face. And so, while we go forward, if that's part of your regular workflow, don't stop that piece. It's going really well. Now you've got the opportunity, to throw out core values, and that'd be a great connection. And I know there's going to be this new splash page where there's going to be a curation of social emotional learning skills that we can really transfer to our students. It's things that would specifically speak to self-care so that they have the ability to reduce anxiety while they're home during quarantine for the next 5 weeks of distance learning. So I love that we're doing that, but again, it's not a big pedagogical shift because the work you've been doing has been really connecting your students, and the parents overwhelmingly said so in the parent survey results. So this next column, I guess, is the new ask, right? And so I want to make sure that we understand, though, that because of this new ask, we don't want you changing your workflow if your workflow is working for you. So, the ask is obviously that we want to have adaptive curriculum, start to adapt learning for students because we think that that's good for students during this time. And I won't back away from that. I think it's 100% still what we need to be doing is putting these pieces in there so students can focus on math and reading in an adaptive platform that hopefully fills some holes that they might have in their learning or allows them to extend into new concepts. And I love that piece. However, I read through the staff survey and some people said, well, gosh, I don't want to use this adaptive curriculum because I feel like it's going to take away from what I'm doing. And I think I want to iterate this or explain this from my perspective. If you like the workflow that you're doing, if you're doing 5 days a week of academic engagements, you keep doing what you're doing. If you can sustain what you're doing, keep doing it. We only asked, hey, if you add these adaptive resources, we're going to allow you to do less academic lessons because we thought that, hey, maybe this isn't sustainable until the end of the year. Maybe you will be exhausted. But some of you out there saying, hey, don't mess up my flow. I've got a 5-day-a-week jam session going. Great. Keep doing that. Add the adaptive piece here. The other thing I heard in the survey was, hey, I'm not sure that my kids are gonna to dig into this. I think they like what we're doing. I don't think they're gonna dig it. Hey, okay. So first of all, we've been very clear with parents. Do what you can do on your schedule and do what's good for you. For some kids, this might be their jam. They might live over here and not love the adaptive piece, but for other kids, it might be the opposite. And that's okay. We won't know until we do it. So let's add the adaptive piece and then let's listen to our community. Maybe people are not doing this and we engage with them. Hey, what don't you like about this? Or we engage with them and go, oh my goodness, you're really rocking this. I've seen you drop off over here. I want to know, is it because there's too much? So we'll talk to our community, but I don't want it to change your workflow. I want you to have the ability to keep doing what you've been doing if that feels like the right workflow for you in your class environment. I hope that makes sense. So I get the personalization piece is new, but I don't want to be a huge pedagogical shift for you. The next piece is connect and collaborate, which is interesting because that is really the academic, enrichment piece that we're talking about. This is your daily lessons academically. Now we've said, hey, you could do as few as 2 times a week if you want to do that, or you could build out a playlist that lasts, so you don't have to do it on a daily regimen. Again, we did that because we wanted to be sustainable for you, so you could stay home and take care of your family, take care of your own health. But again, if you're like, hey, stop, I got this. If you want to do 5 days a week of connect and collaborate, the way you're doing it, keep doing it. And we've added the personalization piece, and we'll see how it plays out. Now, overwhelmingly, the parent survey results were like, we love the Padlet. We love the Flipgrid. We love our teacher calling us on Google Voice. These connection pieces are 100% what is helping our balance of academic and social emotional. These connection pieces are making our students feel connected. So connect and collaborate. Let's not let off the gas on that, but let's also recognize you're already doing it. So I don't want this to feel like a new ask just because we put it in a fancy, cute little column with a new title. It is still what you have been doing on a regular basis. You've been doing it 5 days a week. You could bring it down to 2 days a week on the academic and 5 days a week on the SEL, and that'll keep filling everybody's cup. So, loving the Padlet, loving the Flipgrid. The parents, just tons of respect for the Flipgrid from the parents. They are blown away by that. I think a lot of them have never seen Flipgrid before, really, and they're like, oh, I get what this is. So people are loving that. Keep doing that. And on the Google Meet piece, you'll see in today's Google Classroom resources on how to launch Google Meet. Just so I can lower your affective filter, though, we're going to ebb into it slowly. I think this week, just learn Google Meet, but don't use it. in week 2, meaning next week, we'll survey our families. And not until week 3 will we even launch like small group Google Meets. And really some cool pieces being put together by Mrs. O'Hagan. So take a look at that piece today in the Google Classroom. All right, and then the last piece, provide feedback. Again, just because it has a neat little column header on it, I don't want you to think it's something new. It's what you've really already been doing. We think that the as much as you can, the interaction you have, the feedback you give. When a student logs in and does something and receives a little feedback from their teacher, it again goes back to that SEL and that connection and feeling connected. So I love the feedback. Now, in the survey results, people were like, well, gosh, what feedback do you want us to give? It seems like there's lots of different ways. Very clearly, you do feedback the way you feel comfortable. Last week's professional development from the tech team had some amazing ways to connect and collaborate and do feedback. If you're looking for new ways to try cool stuff in these 2 columns, go look at that PD again. There's great resources there. So what I would say about the feedback column really is, hey, use Google Form, use personalized email, use Google Voice, use the private comments workflow is awesome on Google Classroom, collaborate on Google Docs, slides, whatever you got. Just make sure that students are getting some feedback, at least during each week of instruction. So again, I want you to know that that's not a new piece. It's what you've already been doing. So let's look at then, what does our workflow actually look like coming into this new version here? So the workflow is like still the same. Send out an email every day and do an SEL posting every day, and that's for K5 and 6-8. We got posting the adaptive math and ELA pieces. Now that's new. Some of you have been posting it already, though, in the extended links below, but now it's really about moving up into Google Classroom. And you can see right here the little workflow in Google Classroom, how it just slides right in there. And I unpacked that in the parent video as well, so they got to see that. So I'll give you a rundown too, right? Here's your daily SEL piece right there, looking great. And here's your academic piece. You're throwing that in there. You're still calling it academic. That's a little Google slideshow there. Hey, maybe you're doing that twice a week. Maybe you're doing it 5 days a week. Maybe you're doing a playlist. Again, whatever your workflow is, I'm not trying to take away from that. We're just asking that we add something that looks like this, that gives students an opportunity to, jump in here for 10 to 20 minutes on each of these per day, which really, gives them the opportunity at adaptive skill building. So, as I said, now we've said at least 2 academic lessons. You were already doing 5 academic lessons. So, again, as we worry about pivoting and changing, this change was intended to lighten your load. If you can still do more, if you want to do more, if you're like, hey, I don't want to do 2 lessons a week, I'll never get through anything, I want to do 5, you keep doing what you're doing, that's fine. We just wanted to make sure that you knew it was okay to lighten your load a little bit there. And then the focus on feedback, again, as I spoke to earlier, I don't think that's a real pedagogical shift. I think just putting it in these 4 columns kind of made it feel like more change than it is. So just do what you've been doing, add the adaptive piece, and then you make the decision, what do you want to do about those academic workflow pieces? Okay, quickly, I just want to walk you through what I told the parents. You can watch the parent video, but I gave parents the calendar piece where I told them, hey, we're closed on May 27th. That's the promotion day. And I gave them the wrap on the end of year events. I also started unpacking for them, okay, distance learning has a continued flexibility and support kind of model, right? Like, hey, we're going to continue making it asynchronous. It'll be flexible. Email your teacher if you need support. I told them about the help desk at westlakecharter.com. That's how they get tech support. So just trying to let them know we haven't changed that piece. I told them about additional supports and resources. Look, if you haven't been to the front page yet this week, and you haven't clicked on the Counselor's Corner, you got to check it out. The counseling page is amazing. It has incredible resources for our families, so I told them about that. I then unpacked Lexi and Freckle about why are we using adaptive curriculum, what could it do for your student, why 10 to 20 minutes a day, and then I also told them, like, hey, it's going to be open during the summer, and so this is a great way for you to continue learning even past May 27th. And the last piece was I said, hey, we're going to go slow. We're going to introduce Google Meet. It'll take some time. We'll probably start with small groups, but we will reach out to you families and let you know what that looks like next. And you can look at my Google Meet resources in the in the Google Classroom today, so you kind of get an eyeball on what that looks like. But again, I think we'll wade into it nice and slow. Okay, we've covered all of my points: calendar, our distance learning pedagogy, and our parent communications. I hope you are rested and rejuvenated and ready to fire it up. I know distance learning isn't our normal jam, but it is our jam right now. So let's do what we do and work together in collaboration to make something special happen between now and May 27th. I am honored to be a part of this team. I hope that we get together face to face via a Google Meet soon, because I miss all your faces. I look forward to seeing what you produce as we go forward. What you've done thus far has been absolutely phenomenal. I mean, if we haven't had the opportunity to tell each of you individually, then let me just say publicly, going through the Google Classrooms and lurking around at what every team is doing, I am absolutely blown away by what you're doing. So please, if nothing changes other than adding the adaptive curriculum, I will be tickled pink. The work you're doing is phenomenal. So don't go changing right now. Keep trying to do what you've been doing, because it's been really holding our community together and fueling our families to stay connected to Westlake. Okay, spend the rest of today introducing yourself to Google Meet, looking at a couple of resources, and then jamming with your teams to build out all of the resources you need to going forward. All right, thanks, team.